So the summer in Tennessee is like astronomically hot. Let me just get this right real quick. Right there. What I like to do right now when I just can't shoot, I'm not gonna shoot. In a couple days it's gonna be over 100 degrees and that's just not feasibly possible for me. So what I like to do is find creative tools and ideas that I can use to get the photographs that I want. For example, I often find myself in the situation with waterfalls of not having the right filter. And I know you can say like a polarizer is gonna help you a lot. Well, yeah, it is. But sometimes you can't get that right exposure speed that you want. Sometimes it's too long and you just don't like the flow of the water. Sometimes it's not long enough and the water is just kind of still and stuck where it is. What I like to do is find tools that fit that happy medium, that medium space that you can use to go out and photograph these things. So I think I have found that tool and I want to tell you about it. Now, after what seemed like thousands of hours scouring the internet trying to find a solution to this like in-between filter problem, I came across a lot of videos about a specific filming filter called a variable ND filter. And in all that, I never really thought that it could translate over to photography. I thought it might be a great solution to making YouTube videos like this, which I think it is, but in the middle of all of that, I got an email from the people at Moment, and this video is not sponsored by them, by the way, but they said, hey, we're actually coming out with a variable ND filter. Do you want one? And I said, well, it could help me with my videos, and possibly could it be the solution to this photography problem? And I first got introduced to Moment from their phone cases, which I use for my phone just to take videos and stuff and protect my phone while I'm out in the outdoors. They also make these little lenses that attach to their cases that make your videos on your phone really high quality, so it goes from something like this to this, which is a much wider view that you can use for like social media stories and posts on there. Or if you want to make full content with just your phone, you can definitely do that with this too because it's such high quality. So knowing that they make really good products, I thought, you know, why not? Let's test out this variable ND filter. And they sent me this. This is their variable ND filter. This is a ND 4 to 32. Now, if you're wondering what a variable ND filter does, let's rewind this to the very beginning of this video. You may have caught it at the very start. Tennessee is like astronomically hot. Let me just get this right real quick. Right there. So as you can see, it's a great opportunity to possibly darken your lens just enough to get that streaking in your camera. Now I have other filters that I use, like these, that I use a lot for landscape photography. This one is a 64 ND and this one is a 1000 ND. But obviously, like these filters can be pretty dark, like if you look at them. Now, I've already made videos talking about what filters are right for landscape photography. And if you want to watch that, you can click on the card showing up on your screen right now. However, I do think it's possible that these could be added to that list. Like one of the things that I hate with filters is constantly changing them in and out. It complicates the workflow, it like distracts me from what's going on in the landscape, and I just hate dealing with constantly spinning all these on and off. I think using one of these is a fantastic way of avoiding that because you can go from, again, 4 to 32 just in sliding this around. Now, the question also becomes, what does color cast do to images like this? Like filters have a specific kind of color cast that they can put on your images. The goal is finding a filter that doesn't put one of those onto your image. And Testing these out with video, I hadn't seen any specific color cast going from one shot to the next. Did I have to spin this and adjust it? Absolutely. But still, it wasn't the annoyance of taking a filter on, putting one off, mixing my shutter setting versus my aperture versus my ISO. Like, I didn't have to do any of that anymore. So the question still begs, like, did this put color cast on any images? And the answer is no. Like, this worked great for video. It works great for photos too. So I think like this can be a great solution for landscape photographers if they want a filter system that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. And while these are a little bit expensive, I do think that you come out ahead buying one of these instead of getting an entire system. And the risk of getting an entire system here is that when you upgrade a lens, when you switch a lens out, now you have to buy possibly an entire new filter system because you have a different size thread on your new lens. That can be really, really annoying. You can buy a filter thread adapter, something that adapts it, but again, that's just another piece that you have to worry about putting on and off of the end of your lens, on the end of your filters. So I think doing something like this, buying like an all-in-one filter, a 4 to 32, they also make a different range of variable ND filter that you can get too. So getting something like that versus buying countless of different filters, like a 64, like a 10, like a 1000, like a, I don't know, the list goes on and on. You can get tons of these options in your bag that weigh you down. Using something like this, you have one filter that you need to worry about. You can get it in the field. You can have that 1000 ND filter that you use once in a blue moon to streak some clouds across the sky. But overall, you're going to be using something like this a lot more. Now, I know, like with waterfalls, going back to that example, you can still use a polarizer for something like that. Absolutely. Just put this on the end of your polarizer, or put the polarizer on the end of this, because this still has threads on the inside that you can attach a polarizer to. So always be mindful of the tools that you're using. You know, how can you save a little bit of cash? How can you limit the amount of gear that you're worrying about in the field? Because with my in-field workflow, I don't know if you're anything like me, but with mine, I desire the most minimalist setup possible whenever I am shooting photos. Because I don't want to be worrying about, okay, this is another piece of glass on another piece of glass on another piece of glass. I want the most pristine shot and the most pristine scene between my lens and me. So that means limiting the amount of pieces of gear that I put in between that landscape. Because, I mean, that just increases the amount of something that could go wrong. It increases the amount of the shot being ruined. You may have dust on several of those that goes and stacks throughout that you have to post-process later, and spending more time in front of your computer when you want to be spending time outdoors. So let's really think about how do we minimize, become minimalist in the mindset with our camera equipment. So would I recommend one of these for your landscape photography? I think if you've ever been in that situation of finding yourself, of being in between filter counts and really thinking like, I wish I had less filters, I think this is a great filter for you to think about. Variable NDs are something that I had never even considered for landscape photography until I started taking it out with me, filming these videos, and then also keeping it on to shoot, you know, landscapes too. They're a tremendous way to make more creative photographs and have more options with your filters too. So if you want to learn more about Moment and these filters, again, this video isn't sponsored by them. I just found this piece of gear really useful that I wanted to share with you guys. There's some information below in the video description. I'll also link it in the comment section. I'll pin that to the top for you guys so you can check those out too. If you like this review, if you want to follow me in the field, how I create photos in real time, go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell. And I can't wait to have you come along with me whenever I am out shooting or sharing some interesting pieces of gear or photo tips in the future.